stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening. I don't know why we're late. We were just hanging out downstairs, not doing anything important. Yeah, really. It was Donnie's fault. At this time, it is our public input on agenda and non-agenda items. I welcome any members of the audience to speak at this time. Yeah. Superintendent update.
Thank you. So we'd like to give a quick update. As the board knows and the audience knows, we're in the middle of a huge capital project. We're on phase 3 of it, but thought it'd be a good time to, Mr. Hotelling and the whole team were here not too long ago to do a full presentation about the whole project, but we thought it'd be a good time to have a quick update how things are going, especially at School 18. As you know, the School 18 students and faculty and the whole organization is at School 12 this year while they're getting renovated. So, Mr. Hotel?
Thank you. So in front of each board member is I'll say a flyer with some pictures. I always like to show pictures when we talk about the capital project. But the current status down in what was formerly the pool area of School 18, on the first floor, portion of the faculty room, and in the main office. So you can see we're at the tail end of demolition, and they're beginning to run piping for the heating and ventilation system. We meet as a construction team every 2 weeks at this point with all the contractors to go over any outstanding items, issues in the field, and to make decisions that happen, pretty much daily, but to keep everybody up to speed and to keep the project going. As many of you may have heard, or maybe I said it the last time I was presented as well, we ran into some slight delays in the beginning with the status of the foundation at School 18. It did set us back a few weeks, but we are still on target to finish in the summer at this point in time. That's obviously critical to be back in the schools in September. Does anyone have any questions about School 18? I know sometimes people hear things and want to make sure that everything is okay. It is a difficult project, I'll tell you that right now. In meeting with the superintendent at the building today, he did, say, hey, I know we meet all the time, but this is really tough. These buildings that are 100 years old to get this work done. So one step at a time, moving in that direction. Other portions of improvement, which we don't have on here, there will be a new cafeteria off the gym, a new main office, and a new secure vestibule entrance as part of this project. I know you've heard me say it, but I'll say it again. COVID and inflation have really hurt, I'll say, impacted these projects. So when we did a $56 billion bond or total project, that was in 2019, pretty much just as COVID was hitting. We have seen it, big impact. And the board did put some additional funds in last year, and we continue to monitor the budgets for all the projects. So we did open up a bid recently this past week, and it continues. Inflation continues, and lead time issues continue. If there's no questions on 18, I'll jump quickly to the tech wing in School 16, if that's all right.
Yeah, I'll just say what Adam was just talking about. During our budget process, we'll probably, obviously, I haven't started yet really, but depending on if aid comes as promised and the federal money is still here, we'll probably be talking about supplementing again like we did last year. Adam and Julie are actually looking at some of that federal money, as long as it had to do with airflow, can be used for capital. So try to be supplementing with both.
And Julie and I have been in discussions recently and talking about how to do that and requests for approvals. It's just a long process to go through, get the approvals, and align it with the construction timelines. It's a challenge, but we continue to move forward and try to maximize every single funding mechanism that's available to us. And that ARP money goes through September of '24, which is really only one more school year, believe it or not, after this one.
They originally talked about it extending. Have you heard anything about it?
I have not heard one word on an extension, so
I haven't either.
I think it'll probably based in next year on the economy and other ones. So the tech wing is still in design. I'll say it's in design 4.0 right now. We've had numerous meetings with the high school, both curriculum leaders and administration. Those have been really productive meetings. We've kind of gone through, I think, 3 curriculum leaders in 3 years. So every time we get a new leader, we kind of go back to the drawing board a little bit, make some slight changes. I actually dropped off new drawings to Mr. Robinson this morning for them to take another look, get back to the architects, and hopefully wrap up our final initial design layout for the tech wing. It's really exciting stuff going in there. It's going to be really beautiful. New facility is always great, and that'll be going into full engineering design once that layout is fully complete.
I think one of the best things about that part of the project is the partnerships that we're already developing. Joe and Ryan Meikle and Matt Robinson have been meeting with, and Mr. Hurley have been meeting with like the labor groups, the welders, the carpenters, and all of that, and trying to get their ideas of what should be back there, what they need from workers. They had a meeting with RPI. RPI reached out to me probably 2 months ago. The new president, as everybody knows, Packer Jackson is gone, Shirley Jackson. The new president wants to be part of the Detroit community, wants to partner with the schools. So they've been part of looking at those designs that Mr. Lieutenant was talking about, wanting to be part of it, wanting to come in and teach some class. The labor groups say they want to be in there doing some stuff. So there's some real exciting things that are happening that'll give our kids a lot of options coming out to go to school or to go right into a well-paying job, which is obviously a great thing.
So we'll update you at the next larger, probably in the spring. I think we normally do a second presentation about the tech wing. Similarly, School 16 is kind of at the same, a little bit more forward status. We've had some back and forths with the State Education Department and our construction management team. That project is interesting as well. COVID hit that one in terms of electrical supplies and lead times. So we had to put our heads together about how we're going to phase that project. Just so you know, pretty much the district is going to be purchasing probably a lot of the equipment ahead of time before it even goes out to bid, because the lead time is over a year. So we can't wait on certain supplies, or you can't do a school project like that. So we put our heads together last week, and nothing has been ordered as of yet, but we're getting all the supply materials lists to do that. We can't wait until March, April, or May, and then not receive the supplies until the following summer to make sure we get that project done. As a reminder, that project will have 2 elevators, so SED recommended putting a second elevator externally, not internally, for aid purposes. So that was helpful to have that conversation well ahead of time. That is also in the schematic design phase, which is the engineering and full design phase, and we're bidding that in the springtime. Starting it in the summer, but probably towards the later end of the summer as we move the School 18 and 16 around.
Adam needs to be commended. I mean, his work with SED has been really good. The high school project, remember, they originally wanted us to do it in the same exact footprint that it's in right now, which means you have to move everybody and you can't have any classrooms in there. We finally, after 3 or 4 meetings and a lot of conversations and a lot of emails, they finally agreed to let us build where the parking lot is, same size, but not actually the same footprint, and then demolish the old one, which was a huge, with the same aid, that's usually a lot less aid you get back. And then 16, with the relationship he developed with SED, with 16 changing the elevators. That was their recommendation to maximize our aid that we'll get back. So it's been good.
So we'll continue on. I'm sure we'll talk about it a little more when we get into the budget development process. And every time we open up a bid, we'll make sure to let you know how it's going.
Thank you, Adam. Any questions? August, September, and October financials?
Sure. I'll just give a brief summary of the financials that are on the agenda for tonight. In those 3 months, our claims auditor reviewed 930 claims totaling almost $21 million. In the general fund, the revenue right now through the end of October compared to last year is up about $5 million, mostly increases in state aid, that's where that comes from. The expenses are up a couple million, mostly due to an increase in transportation costs and employee benefits. In the school lunch, just through the end of October, the revenue was down a little and expenses were up a little. But when I look at November, everything starts to even out. There's just a lag in some things. And then with federal fund, I didn't include those in the October reports. They'll be in November. We closed our June 30th grants in September, and so those payments are starting to come through, our final payments. We just finished the August 31st grants last month, so those will start coming probably in the next 60 days. And most of the this 22-23 grants are all approved. I think there's just one final improvement on those. So those payments actually have been starting to come through also. So all of the accounts throughout end of October are reconciled. Also, once we finished the audit last month, we submitted our ST3 and all of our financials to SED. This month I have the ESSA reporting that has to get done by the end of the month. And then in January, we start our internal audit with Marvin and Company the second week of January, and budget, starting the budget.
Kind of jump right from one to the other.
Yeah, there's no break.
Yeah.
That's it.
Thank you. Anybody have questions? Thank you very much.
Sure.
Unclassified employee transfers for notification purposes only. Motion on the floor for approval of minutes, November 16, 2022.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Superintendent recommendation, human resources, staff matters, unclassified and classified. Under unclassified, motion on the floor for consent agenda items 1 through 9.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Under classified, motion on the floor for consent agenda items 1 through 6.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor? Superintendent recommendation, programs motion on the floor for consent agenda items 1 through 5.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
I should be saying opposed. Any opposed? Superintendent recommendations, business finance, motion on the floor for consent agenda items 1.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Future meetings, all meetings take place at 6 o'clock, December 21st. We're at school too, just a reminder, we're going to be going out afterwards. So, just a reminder.
Mark your calendar.
Yeah, mark your calendar. January 4th, 2023, we're back. Our good news, almost half of the Tri-Middle School student body made either honor roll or high honor roll for the first market period. The students, The students will celebrate on December 9th when they receive a purple and gold TMS honor roll bracelet that says hard work pays off. Carroll Hill hosted their second annual turkey trot on Wednesday, November 22nd. They had a great turnout. There were Carroll Hill families support from our SRO and Troy police officers and district office. Thank you to everyone who joined in. On November 17th, School 18 hosted a turkey harvest dinner for their families catered by Carol's Place. There was time for families to socialize and make connections within the school community. Thank you to the PTA for sponsoring this event. School 14 has completed their school community read for November. The book, I Am Everything Good, was read and discussed by every class in the building. The monthly school community read is an initiative of our building's Equity Liaison and Equity Council. For December, the school community read will be Skin Like Mine. December is Computer Science Month. The elementary schools are learning how to be coders and programmers with 3 allowed activities and participating in the Hour of Code. They will also have guest speakers from our IT department. You be speaking? Winter sports. The season has just begun last week with the bowling team win against Colony. Boy, our bowlers are good, aren't they? And girls basketball teams opened with a tournament at Airville Park last weekend. We
Boys
look,
basketball won last week.
did they? Good. We look forward to another great season of Troy sports. Winter concert season is here. Carol Hill kicked off the schedule last night. Tonight is the Troy High concert at 7:30. Next week we have schools 18, 16, and Troy Middle School performing. The following week, schools 2 and 14 will close things out before the holiday break. Anybody have any other good news? I think we covered it. Well, before we adjourn the meeting, if we don't see you at the next one, I'm not even going to pick on anybody. See, that's my holiday present to everybody. So if I don't see you at the next meeting, or if we don't see you at the next meeting, thank you for all you do, and I hope everybody has great holidays. Motion on the floor to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Let's go home.